even get to cross.
Hey everyone, ZaiZoe here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to walk you through pushing. There's a lot to know and a lot to get into. Some of you will know what I'm about to say, some of you won't, and some ideas may be new. So let's kick this thing off and get into it right away. First thing we're going to talk about is gems. Not necessary to buy, but if you do get them from awards and achievements, we will kind of go over in this video where you should focus those gems into. Also, I just want to make a little note on my personal opinion on what is worthy to keep and not keep here. If you are pushing, all of this stuff as far as the books go are worth keeping. You can only get one of each book at a time, so try to use it before the next Clan Games awards. Now, when it comes to potions for pushing, I don't really think the max troops has much to do, because usually the troops you're using are already maxed. The resources one, also not necessary. After a certain point, you're going to be focused on that anyway. This one, however, the gem everything at once, that is the one that you want to keep. That is going to help you out, especially when waiting for those raids to be going faster into them. So that's the one I'd personally keep. Aside from that, there is some other stuff to go over. One of the most common questions asked is, what language do I use? Or what language is a good server? Let me just say that languages do not make a difference. Yes, you might say that I've changed language. I've switched from English to French or from English to Russia, and I found all these great bases. It is just a placebo effect. You can't say that. The languages are not servers, so don't focus on that. They might refresh the server you're on, but also coming out of the cloud and going back in, or closing your game and turning it back on, will refresh it as well. The server you're logged into is the one you're logged into. In order to change that, you got to log out for a while, long enough to take a defense. So if you're on a guard, I guess you can log out for 10 minutes or so, and then come back in. You'll be in somewhere different, but don't think that just by changing things, that's what happens. Another big thing is patience. I just want to show with this raid, patience. Aside from having the patience to hit next a lot, because you are going to have patience to hit next a lot, you're also going to have the patience of taking a base with time. Okay? You got lots of time on this attack. We got 2 minutes. We do not need to rush this attack. If we take our time, we just go slow, we'll be safe. The safest method to attack any base, is to just go for 50%. If you want to push without failing, or failing as minimum as possible, because you still will fail the odd time, the thing to do is to go for the 50% 1-star. If the town hall's close enough, okay. If you think you can funnel into it, alright. But make sure you know what stage you're at before you drop all of the rest of your troops down. It's going to be important that if you get into trouble, that you have some backup troops. Like we're doing right here, we're basically trying to make a funnel in. The CC's coming out now. We're at 36%. We do not want to send everything into that town hall, especially with the blower pointing at us. We want to lead them CC troops away from there. We also want to try and pick off a few more percentage while we're there, and then hopefully, once we know we're at a safe point, once we feel okay, we've got this, we're gonna get to 50%, that's when the rest of the troops can flood down. And even right now, you see, most things went in. We still kept a couple back just in case we didn't lock in that 50%, but we managed to get it. Also, while you are raiding, one of the things you want to make sure as well is that you have troops cooking in your barracks, and that I always prefer to put my heroes under a gem boost as soon as I know I'm going into clouds. The second I know that I'm going to start a session or even going to certs, I gem boost my heroes. Now, that brings us to what a session is, some ask. Well, a session is how long you have to search for bases. That's going to be your session. You might not use the full time, but as soon as you can, the second that you know your session's beginning, you have no shield on, with the new system, with the village guard and everything else from my old videos, you're going to want to put that village guard on right away. Remember, it's on a 23-hour cooldown. You're not going to have it every time, and it's going to move back further and further in your raids until one day you come on and you're not going to have that extra 2 hours for the full 6-hour session time. So remember to put it on right away. You gotta get it on, or one day, it's gonna mess you up a little bit, and you're gonna be like, I missed it by just a couple minutes. Now that gets us into shields. I do use shields. I recommend using shields. There's two type of systems you can run off of them. You can put the shield on and you can wait the almost full time. If you put it on tonight at 10 o'clock, you're not going to want to wait till 10 o'clock tomorrow on the one day to start. You might want to wait till about 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock, pull it so that you're still going to link up to your other ones when it comes to down the road. There is the other way of just attacking straight through the whole shield. If you know you have time to do a full session afterwards anyways, just raid the shield down, take everything you can. Otherwise, generally, you can either leave the shield on and not attack, or you can search for whales only through the shield, or you can completely pull the shield down. Also, you are capable of stacking all the shields on top of each other. The 1 week, the 2 day, and the 1 day. You can stack them all up for 10 days, but don't do that. Just stack them one at a time. Put the 1 day on first, right? Give it its time. Tomorrow in a day, do a session. Then put the 2 day on. Okay? Then wait a couple days, do a session when it ends. Then put the 1 week on. Same thing. Wait till it's over, and then do a session. Do a session between your shields for maximum gains. That's how you make those jumps of, 3, 4, 500 cups in what seems like the week, and it's because you used your shields right. At the end of those, they will link back up that you can use the 1 day, the 2 day, the 1 week, then back to the 1 day, 2 day, or you can vice versa, 2 day, 1 day, 1 week, 1 day, 2 day. It will work out both ways. There is no pro or con to either way. I've worked it out on a calendar for timelines. So that is kind of how I use my shield systems. You'll figure out for yourself what's best to work for you. And again, if you have time to raid through them, raid through them. If you don't, search for whales. If you don't have that, wait for them to go down. But more importantly, you have to give it the time. And they will link back up. You can go 13 days, do 6 sessions, no defense, if you do it right. So keep that in mind. And back to when I was saying you got to have the patience to hit next. You will find bases like this, by the way. So if you are a low level, a lot of it has to do with patience. Patience for waiting for the right base. And you're going to take fails, but you'll get there. Now, one of the main things, the difference you see on this one, is this account's low. It has no what we call clouds chat. I want to tell you that if you're down really low in cups, a main tip of mine is don't talk. Don't talk in clan. Don't talk in chat, globals. Just push. That's what you're on to do. You're on to push. So when you go on, push. When you get to 3600, this opens up. Your clouds start to get longer. It's not usable at 3600s as it is at 5k, but it is an introduction into the basically cloud chat, as we all call it. And some might wonder why I would have an art base up. I just want to show you a scenario here. This guy can definitely 3-star my base. That is why I just leave up an art base, in hopes that some guys up high will be nice enough to just take the loot, and then they'll leave. They'll give me the win. And that's just what this nice player did. Okay? So sometimes you're going to win a defense. Sometimes you're not going to win a defense. And again, like this, no way I would have won anyways He was going to 3-star me. So it didn't matter that I had my art base or my defense base up. However, I do feel that I get luckier with the art base in that people just want to take the easy loot sometimes, or an easy 1-star, or maybe even easy 2 stars, and then they leave you alone. Your basic defense is going to look like this. So be ready. You might get mad when you're whaled, but just try to not have a real goal. Just go with, I'm just pushing to see where I go. And if you go with the I'm just pushing to see where I go, you will not have as much trouble when you're going through those hard defenses. Now, one of the last things is, what troops should we use? That all depends you, the town hall level, what you're most comfortable with. I often suggest that, there are a lot of videos out there, there's a lot of players out there. Figure out which ones are doing what, and what's going to be most effective for you, and just stick with that one. And then you'll learn that one. You'll learn to look at a base, considering those troops, considering how you're going to drop those troops. Switching strats, sometimes you end up doing better, but sometimes it ends up going backwards on you. So I prefer to stick to one strat, do that. Now, as I was saying, always make sure your CC and always make sure your troops are full. Always make sure everything's ready to go before you go into clouds. I actually like to now cook one troop and one spell that I know the rest of the clan uses a lot of. With the new barracks system, it's not as good as it used to be. You used to be able to cook 4 different troops and 2 different spells at the same time. You could mass donate to different people selecting different things, so that's why I do that, just so that you're not held up too much. You've got almost all your army. You're just basically a troop or 2 shy in one spell, so it won't take you too long to get back in. Neat little trick there I wanted to show everybody. If you forgot what was in your CC, you can always check. And all you have to do is just click and hold on the CC, and it will show you what's in there. I like to do it zoomed in over a spot where you can't drop a troop, just in case, right? That's also how I like to search. I like to search zoomed in. This was actually, I just wanted to show you guys how to do that, and this was the very first base that popped up. So it also demonstrates a couple things. Sometimes you'll find a great base right away, and other people in the clan, they'll be so mad when they watch this video. They've been searching for an hour and haven't found a base yet. And I popped in, and within 5 minutes of searching, this base pops up. First base. That happens sometimes. So you also have to have luck. You have to be lucky. Sometimes you'll be lucky on defense, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll be lucky in sessions for raids, sometimes you won't. But without a little bit of luck, you're in for some hard times. So again, with this raid, just showing, have patience. You have time. 3 minutes is a little tight when you're trying to pull a 3-star. But as we already talked about earlier, we're not trying to pull 3 stars. We're trying to pull the 1-star. And I did look around there, made a selection of where I thought my heroes would do best, that they would not trigger the CC, and also that they wouldn't get destroyed by the time they took out a good percentage. And personally, I use air. Guys use ground. This goes back to the whole strat thing. What strat should you use? The strat you should use is the one that you've learned with and the one you're most comfortable with. I've always kind of used air. So the switch for me to go from Lavalunian, well, from actually Dragloon to Lavalunian to Babyloon, wasn't that difficult. I already had it down pat. So, maybe playing around with, if you're a ground guy, playing around with other ground attacks. If you're an air guy, playing around with other air attacks. But switching from one to the other, maybe do that down low. Maybe learning up high isn't quite the time to switch over. But again, just have patience. You're going to have to watch other people's replays, videos. You're going to have to get an idea of how that strat works, but just stick with the strat. If you stick with the strat, you look at the base designed for that strat, right? It starts to get in your head. You'll understand what I mean when it gets to that time. Basically, that's pretty much all I'm able to walk you through. A bunch of stuff you're gonna, run into along the way and some hard problems. But basically, we've kind of gone over everything. Um, that's how I like to push. If you follow those guidelines and you do that, you shouldn't have any trouble. Patience is going to be the big key. You're going to have patience. Some days are going to be good. Some days are going to be bad. Good luck out there, and I hope to see you joining the high ranks of the true savage. Black and white, you know it's right. See you guys later. I'm out of here. Peace.